Hello there! Right now, I am standing 8,500 feet up in the mountains at the end of a steep 7-mile dirt road. And tomorrow, exactly where I'm standing, will be a 40,000 gallon water tank. And not only do we have to get it up this twisty mountain road, we then have to dig a hole, bury it, and fill it with 40,000 gallons of water. This is all part of a rebuilding process we have going on for the American Hotel here. My friends Heavy D and Diesel Dave are in town, and no matter what, we're gonna make this thing happen. All right, so first, why do we need 40,000 gallons of water in an abandoned mining town? That is a very good question. And the answer is, right now we have no reliable water source here. And two, we are trying to build a hotel up to modern code. Just to my left here is what formerly was the American Hotel that we sadly lost to a fire in 2020. And pretty much every day since, I've been dedicated to getting this hotel rebuilt, and it probably is the project that means more to me than anything in the world. The plans called for a fire sprinkler system, and this fire sprinkler system has to be able to run for 60 minutes straight without running out of water. And across 3 floors, basement, first floor, and second floor, that all adds up to about 36,000 gallons of water. The only water that we have right now is 700 feet down a mine shaft and replenishes at about 15 gallons per hour. So obviously that wasn't gonna work. So I started looking at tanks, and it turns out that a 40,000 gallon tank is very hard to come by. So after a lot of searching around, a lot of logistics, I finally came upon one in Fresno, California. And there's a guy named Pat there, and we figured it out. We found the right tank, the right size, actually overcapacity for what I needed. But then the tank's still in Fresno. And then the logistics really start. This thing, again, is 47 feet long and 12 feet around. It's so big that even to move it from Fresno, you need special permits to bring it on the road. And even if you can bring it on the road and get it to the bottom of a mountain, you still have a 7-mile dirt road that increases 1 mile in elevation on the way up. Luckily, I do have some friends that are pretty amazing at insane logistics. The Diesel brothers, Heavy D and Diesel Dave, have been up here before. Just about a year ago, no concrete company wanted to come up that road. And so we mixed 80 yards of cement here on site. It was probably one of my favorite days I've ever had at Cerro Gordo. And so now I'm very fortunate that the days are coming back, and it's all happening tomorrow. And in less than 24 hours, there is going to be a lot of digging and a lot of movement going around this abandoned ghost town. The plan as it stood at the beginning was this, is H&S Heavy Haul, who I have to give a huge shout out to. Thank you H&S and Harmon and everybody up there, was gonna come down from Yuma City, come through Fresno where the tank was, and then bring the tank down to the base of Cerro Gordo. Dave, coming from Utah, was gonna come out with all of his equipment, hopefully rendezvous right around the same time, and then we're gonna figure out a way to get this tank off of Harmon's truck, onto Dave's truck, and then up the road. Just coordinated with the fire sprinkler company to make sure we're putting it in right. And right now it's an interesting day because it's actually raining up here. It never rains. That's all right, we'll keep the dust down for all the moving around of equipment. Tomorrow should be the start of some of the craziest days yet. I can't even begin to think how we're gonna get this thing up here. I hope it's not raining tomorrow, but now I'm gonna go relax a little bit and get ready for the morning. Dave is supposed to arrive in 30 with his vehicles. The tank has just been loaded, and I just saw a clip of it. It is the most ridiculously large tank I've ever seen in my life. It's hanging a little bit over the edge. That's supposed to come around 4. It's about 1 o'clock right now. We got the whole team here. We got Daniel.
Hey, let's go.
We got Scotty. We have a variety of vehicles, dirt bikes. It's hot, but it's exciting because today's the day that Cerro Gordo will have the most water it's had probably ever in its history. There's Dave. One of the trucks is going that way, so I need to get over there.
What's up, big guy?
What's happening?
Made it.
Boys are back in town.
Mom, Dad, look what I found.
Hey, Patty, Rich, what's going on? They made it.
We made it. Today we get to put water on the mountain,
It's a
right?
big day. It's a really big day. I don't think there's been that much water up here literally since the town existed, and Dave's making it happen. So
We're making it happen. Hey, do you think they can come visit sometime?
The invitation is always open. Literally, anytime you want to come. We got cabins. I'll put you guys up. Even in the house is running water. We've had big improvements since the last time we were here. So anytime you guys want to come, please do.
This has gone from 5 stars to 6-star hotel.
Yeah. Well,
We're there. We're there.
Dave arrived before Harmon did. I think we all arrived maybe around 2 or 3 down in Keeler. It was great to see the guys again. You know, I hadn't caught up with them in a while, so they brought the whole crew back from like Jax to Hans to Bud. So we got to catch up a little bit. Dave then went up the hill to set up his trailer, get some equipment up here before Harmon came. And Dave's crew, before they even came, they fabricated just this crazy structure to hold the tank. You know, when Dave and his team get going, they just come up with the perfect idea. All right, so you can see we got the military truck here to the staging area. Harmon is coming within the next 30 minutes with the actual tank itself, and at which point we're gonna try to bring the tank up on the semi as far as we can. This is pretty much as far as we think we can get. We're probably a mile up the road right now. But if you look at this thing, this has all been fabricated by Dave back in Utah specifically to carry the tank. It's already about 5 o'clock right now, so we have our work cut out for us to get this done by nighttime. During that time, it was interesting, you know, it seemed like while we were down there, it was just the hottest day ever. And then suddenly like a switch, a storm started to roll in. Probably for the second time all year, it looks like it might rain. And so bringing this tank up was already gonna be a huge undertaking, but bringing this tank up in the rain is insane, really, is the only way to describe it. And so we'll see when Harmon gets here. I hope this rain behind me, that doesn't come, but not looking promising. But Harmon showed up. You know, we could see his truck coming from just literally miles away. It was just this massive, like missile looking thing coming our way. I, of course, had to jump on top of the tank, you know, take a couple photos, really get into the spirit. I was feeling really good. I have to say, the sight of that tank showing up was just super exciting for me. You know, when you think about the puzzle that is Cerro Gordo and the puzzle that is the American Hotel, there's pieces small and large, and I think that the water tank here was definitely a large puzzle piece. You know, that was one that where if you get that to snap into place, you feel pretty good about yourself on the whole puzzle that you're doing.
We're not even going to want the chain up there. We're going to want to go shackle to a tank.
Oh, you want to go shackle?
Yeah, because I don't want any slack in it because we don't have that much room to lift.
And so once we got finally to the staging area, you know, the tank was there, the loader was there, the excavator was there, the military truck was there with the pipes on top of it. It was just a function of, okay, now what? And luckily this tank had 2 huge hooks on either side of it. And so basically the plan was to take the loader bucket, hook it to one end, take the excavator arm, hook it to the other end, lift the thing up, you know, kind of like 2 dual cranes at the same time, get the flatbed that it came on out of the way, back the military truck back up to where it was, and then just slowly lower it down onto it. I remember just the excitement mingling everywhere as it seemed like our crew had ballooned to like 30 people somehow were there. Some from Dave's crew, some from my crew, some from, I'm not really sure where they came from, but it seemed like we had a big spectacle going on.
It's gone really smoothly. I've been surprised. Went really well. So hopefully the drive up there goes just as well. Fingers crossed.
Oh, now's your day.
Oh, wow.
Box right there.
All right.
Whatever's on your hand is only going to make you stronger, Brent.
Don't worry about it. There's no worse stuff in the mines.
Oh man, that's sitting exactly how I envisioned it.
Diesel Dave and I jumped on the top of the tank. You know, we got the straps down after we loaded it on, and then came the fun part. You know, then this tank was secured and we had to get it up the hill. And I remember before we started taking it up, we were making bets. And Scotty here was like, I think it's gonna take 2 hours to go through the narrows, kind of the twisty turny part of the road here. Because he thought we were gonna have to go, pick up the end of it, move it around, this and that. I said 2 minutes. You know, I had a lot of confidence in Dave and his crew. They just know how to get stuff done. And it was funny because when it came time to drive it up, I was in my truck ahead of everybody. And I remember kind of going slow and then looking in my rear view mirror, and this truck is just hauling. You know, Dave's like gaining on me in my regular truck. So I was like, oh damn, I gotta get out of the way. So to be honest, it went way smoother than I thought it was gonna be. You know, this thing was just going around these turns, handling it with care. It was probably the most ridiculous piece of machinery. No, it definitely was the most ridiculous piece of machinery that's ever been brought up the Yellow Grade Road here. I mean, when else would have they ever brought something that big? When else has this town ever had that much capacity to store water ever? You know, it's just such a huge piece of this town. And to see it just twisting and turning through the narrows, past the narrows, over and up all the bumps, and just handling the road with ease was awesome. Also, the ease of which it was handling the road gave Diesel Dave and I an idea. We thought, hey, you know, this thing seems to be handling the road pretty well. And so Dave and I scrambled up to the top of the tank, and we kind of ended up surfing for the last half of the ride. And I gotta say, like, when I think back to kind of some of my most fun, specific moments over my last 2.5 years here, that's in the top 5, top 3 easily. Is just standing on the top of this tank, you know, just arms of the wind, full of Titanic mode at some points, or just going like this off the bow of this massive tank that's on top of a massive military truck. I remember just like the success of how the trip was going, you know, how easy it was going, and Dave up there just being so excited, just got me excited, and it was just the most epic way that I could have ever imagined to bring this tank into town.
I didn't hear him change it. That is a lot of dirt that we're gonna move, and then put that bad boy in the ground, and the American Hotel will be like back
full speed ahead on track.
Back on track.
This is
Back
awesome.
on track, baby.
We got to do a huge shout out to Harmon and Jim from H&S Heavy Haul. They're up here somewhere.
You're the man, Harmon. You're the man, Jim.
Hanging out. Those guys just never, ever let us down. Like literally a couple texts to Harmon. And you got to understand, they're volunteering all their time and resources. They're bringing excavators for us to use. So good dudes. Now we just got to unload it without dropping it, put it in the ground without smashing it, and bury it without destroying anything. And we'll be in water. Yeah. Hell yeah. Man, dude, I'm telling you, if you don't turn that into an underground swimming pool, then don't call me. Yeah. I'm just lose my number.
Up burgers from elsewhere. Hundreds of burgers for hundreds of people. And we've had like a nice dinner and a nice vibe, but we knew that the next day that our work was cut out for us, because we knew the next day we not only had to get this tank buried, we had to get the tank to the point where we wanted to bury it, which there was no road to get to. What's up, guys? I am on the other side of the general store right now, and you can tell behind me we have all sorts of new merch in stock. So if you're looking for a way to support the town, you can go to store.cerrogordomines.com and you can find t-shirts, hoodies, long sleeve stuff, hats, all sorts of different items, and all of it helps support the town. Thank you all so much for the support. It means everything to me. All right, so day 2, you can see behind me, we have the tank up here, but today is the fun day. We have to bury this tank, and it's going pretty much where I'm standing. This tank is 47 feet long and 12 feet wide. We have to dig out a huge trench here, because this will support the fire system for the hotel down below. It'll go into a pump house and all that. And so, we got a lot of digging today, but we do have an excavator, a loader. We got Dave up there, and I'm pretty confident that today we're gonna find some type of treasure in here. You know, when I was just digging around a little bit back behind the hotel, I found a number of bottles. What we want today is we want to find a Miller's Fifth. A Miller's Fifth bottle is a whiskey bottle that could be potentially worth tens of thousands of dollars. But for me, I'll really take any bottle and we'll put it in the museum. So excited about the day, see what happens. I always keep my eye out here anytime we're digging holes for bottles, you know, or anything from the past. You know, back in the day, this town had 4,000 residents here. There was just hundreds of buildings, and they weren't hauling any of their trash off this hill. So anytime you start digging, scratching on the dirt, you find something. So as we started going, you know, Alan was there, Alan from Dave's Crew's the Best. In the end, we found 4 bottles or something like that. You know, the tank, when it was on the military truck, probably sat 20 feet tall, so it was really difficult to get it anywhere. And the location of this tank needed to be at least 10 feet above where the pump was gonna be, but it needed to be accessible. You know, I wanted it close to town so we could access it for a variety of different reasons, for filling reasons, for this and that. You know, no matter what, it was gonna require a pump. And so I didn't want to trench in, you know, all the way up from the hoist. We might do that for a future water tank, maybe the potable water. So that meant there's this area just below the Gordon house. So just below one of the main houses here, there was a flat spot that was above the hotel by at least 20, 25 feet. So it was sitting definitely high enough, you know, to get the PSI to get down to the pump for the sprinkler system and all that. And if you look down there, you see the massive tank, you see the massive military truck, and you see where we're trying to put it. And there's no real road between here and there. So really the first part of today is gonna be cutting in a whole new road just to put this tank in. You know, we're gonna probably cut a road straight up here to be able to put this and position it here. All of this dirt's gonna get moved around when we backfill the hotel anyways. I'm excited to get this thing in place. It's gonna be a huge step for the hotel. You know, to try to get 40,000 gallons of water here is very difficult, but today's the day. So Dave jumped into the excavator, and anybody that knows how to make quick work of dirt, it is Dave Sparks. And probably just past lunchtime, we'd had the hole dug. You know, this hole ended up being something about, 55 feet long and maybe 14 feet deep. And then came the really interesting part. You know, the hole was sitting kind of like this, and the road that we had cut in was like this. And so you have to figure, this military truck had this long tank on it like this. And so how were we gonna get the military truck up our road with the tank this way, unload it, and then swing it down into this hole? It just wasn't gonna happen.
I'm gonna build a ramp down by the rebar, and then this pile of stuff right here, I'm just gonna move to the side and cut low so that we can back the tank straight towards it, and then unload it there, and then be able to pull the truck out, and we'll have the tank sitting on just basically a flat ramp that we can pull it up and position it.
Right here. Yeah.
So what we ended up having to do is off the end of the trench that we had made for the tank itself, we ended up cutting in another road. That way we could take the tank around this way, back the Army truck up, back it into the hole that we had created, at which point in time the excavator could take one end, the loader could take the other end again. We would lift up this tank, and then we would slowly lower it down into its final resting place. It just felt really real. It almost felt surreal how quickly this thing was going. And I remember in these moments, sometimes I just get lost in the history mentality. I started thinking, you know, when is the next time this tank is ever gonna move? I don't think it ever will. You know, when's the next time this tank will even be seen? You know, when will it be used? Hopefully never be used, you know, because this is only water for the sprinklers. And so we're burying this massive, huge thing that'll just sit there unseen, unsettled for who knows how many years, you know, and who knows a couple hundred years in the future, they're like, what is this massive thing that is just placed here? You know, who knows? Maybe they make it into a swimming pool in the future. I'd be okay with that.
Small is that the baby green too.
Johnny, Johnny.
Yeah.
Hey, you got the keys to the mine over there?
Yeah. Yeah. It's going good. It's actually been incredibly smooth. Usually big jobs like this, you have some disaster after another. This time, everything's gone just oddly smooth. So kind of waiting for something to drop, but so far, we just got to lift it up a few inches off the truck, slide the truck out, set her on the pedestals, and it should be gold.
Chain over here. You want another chain?
I thought Hans was dragging it up right there. On the other side of the loader.
You're going down. Slowly going down. You went down about that far.
We got it down in the hole perfectly. You know, we re-leveled everything to make sure it was sitting right. And it's done, you know, and now it sits there.
This is an aquarium, right?
This is, I mean, this is huge for the town.
It is huge. And we could have gone smaller, maybe 4 like 10,000 gallon tanks or something, but
All the way in.
I like the one and done approach.
No, as soon as you're involved, it's like, nope,
Yeah, I was like, Brent, find the biggest tank you can find. And honestly, it worked out great. Like, logistically, that was
way smoother than I thought.
Super challenging, but ended up being super easy. Grateful for the opportunity to be back up in your beautiful town. And I'll tell you what, man, the weather's been amazing.
It's great.
Dude, it just treated us very nicely.
I'm still waiting for something to drop still, because everything's like,
Something will break on the way down the
so
canyon.
smooth. I can't believe how smooth everything's going.
40,000 gallons of water right below us, ladies and gentlemen. Well, 40,000 gallon capacity. With that said, I think we're ready to hit the road, right? Hey, can we go? Thanks for having us, man. This is awesome.
So Dave just took off, but these are all the guys on our side that have been taking care of business. We got Trevor, Scotty, Brian, Phil, and the work's not done yet. We still have to bury this thing, fill it with water, and a lot more, but it was a big couple of days. Shout out to every single person standing on this. Shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to Dave Sparks and crew. Shout out to people behind the scenes. We got our work cut out for us, but the American Hotel is just that much closer to being done. So I'm stoked, and stay tuned because we got a lot of work ahead of us. But Dave did leave that excavator you see behind us for a week, so I'm gonna see what type of trouble we can get into over the next week. Until next time, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you. Well, what difference a day can make. Pretty much the day after we placed the tank, we had a flash flood up here at Cerro Gordo. It completely wiped out our road. It made it completely impassable, you know, turned back into a river. There's no way to get any vehicle on or off the mountain. So that means no filling the tank with water, no backfilling the tank, no pouring the final lift of the basement because we can't get trucks up the road. I spent about 10 hours the past 2 days, each day, getting the road to where it's at least passable. At this point, we can get at least off the mountain. We can't get any of our machinery up here. We can't get the type of trucks we need for water, the type of trucks we need for concrete. I talked to the county and they said it's gonna be 10 weeks before they can fix the road. And 10 weeks put this into winter, basically. And so that's not gonna work. So right now I'm exploring other options about rebuilding the road myself with help. Not really sure where we go from here. But if I've learned anything at Cerro Gordo, I know that if there's a will, there's a way. So stay tuned, because not what I had planned.